right, good evening everyone. Welcome back to Walks in Wall Street. Today is Sunday, it's June 11th, 2023. It's about 8:46 p.m. Eastern. We are reporting live from downtown Miami. Now, we are actually sitting, I would say adjacent from the Frost Science Museum, beautiful museum right here in downtown Miami. But more importantly, we are actually starting off the live stream. I think that was some heat lightning over here. Or maybe it was a plane, I don't know, we'll see. We are actually starting off the live stream on the corner of Northeast 10th Street and Biscayne Boulevard. So why is that notable? Why is that important? Well, we're going to talk about it and I'm going to show you guys here in a minute. We are sitting on the steps of the very famous 1000 Museum building. This is one of the most luxurious apartment complexes in downtown Miami. You could consider it one of the ultra luxury high-end buildings to go right along with the likes of the new Ritz-Carlton residences in Sunny Isles Beach. Also, the Aston Martin building, which we were checking out yesterday. And 1000 Museum is by Zaha Hadid. Unfortunately, she did pass away, but she is an unbelievable architect. So we'll be taking a little bit of a walk around this particular building. I'll showcase some of the architecture, and I think you guys should enjoy it. Now, moving on to the week ahead on Wall Street. This is going to be a pretty big week. Okay, not only are we going to get an update for the May 2023 inflation numbers, yes, that is right. On Tuesday, we are going to get the CPI report, and that is going to be an extremely critical piece of data as it relates to the monetary policy decision-making by none other than the Federal Reserve, Fed Chair Jerome Powell, to be more specific, which we are also going to be hearing from them. Now, next week is also the conclusion of the FOMC meeting. So the Federal Open Market Committee meeting will conclude next week, I believe the 13th through the 14th. Now, there's about a 25% probability, if you look at futures markets right now, it's pricing in about a 25% chance that we get a rate hike of 25 basis points. Now, as a quick review, for those of you who don't know, the current Fed funds target range is right around 5% to 5.25%. So if we do get an additional rate hike, that would bump the Fed funds rate to 5.25% to 5.5%. However, many economists, many analysts on Wall Street are coming to the conclusion that we may take a little bit of a pause. The Federal Reserve may make the decision to ease up on their tightening cycle, because obviously a lot of the it takes a while for these rate hikes to really sift its way through the economy. And I think Fed Chair Jerome Powell and also a lot of the other Fed presidents sort of understand that, right? We heard from Neil Kashkari, we heard from Fed President John Williams, and it seems that as if increasingly these Fed presidents are open to the idea of taking a pause, seeing how the economic data rolls in, and then potentially continuing on their tightening cycle if they need to do so in July. So we will go ahead and get started here. Let me say hello to everybody in the chat. We'll say hello to everybody in the chat. We are going to be walking to Brickell tonight. It's going to be a really nice scenic view. We're going to see the Miami Heat Arena, which is right over here. We are also going to be seeing the Paramount World Tower, which is an unbelievable building. And then my personal favorite here to downtown Miami, the Freedom Tower. So I see Brian is here, Otto, the ABX girl from the Bronx, always a pleasure to see you. Joe C, Richard Vogel, British Gray, NG, Zach Drew, the one and only Ryan Beck. What's up? Yeah, we are smoke-free tonight, that's a plus. Brian, Colleen, LB, Jetstar, Mohammed, Dave, good to see you. Luti is here, Jetstar, Jafet Perez, Farms is here, Quants, And Robert Burns, Joseph Hardaway, good to see you, sir, and Natalie. All right, let's go ahead and close up my laptop here, and we will get started. Alrighty. Hey, Michelle Henry, good to see you. All right, cool. Awesome, everyone. So check this out. Once again, on the corner of Northeast 10th Street. Let me just make sure my camera's in focus. Yeah, we should be streaming in 1080p. If we're not, we'll just have to deal with it. But check this out. Right across the street from the Frost Science Museum is the beautiful 1000 Museum building. Look at that. We started off the stream right here. And look at the very unique architecture. I don't think we've ever seen a building quite like this. Kind of reminds me of a scorpion, does it not? What do you guys think of the architectural design here at 1000 Museum? Now, being that it floods a lot here in downtown Miami, I think they did a really good job. If you notice, if you look right here, you see right there? The base of the building is actually the parking garage. So you're almost guaranteed to never have any of the units in this building flood. If anything, the water will just come up to the parking garage. So I think that was a really cool design piece there. You know, as you're coming over, I had a really, really nice ride here to downtown Miami. If you take the causeway, I forget what the name of it is, from South Beach, the ride over the bridge to downtown Miami is unreal. That's something that you guys need to do at least once in your life if you're visiting. You know, rent a moped, rent a scooter, or even you could walk it or bike it. The views are unbelievable. You see the sun setting over 1000 Museum, over the Freedom Tower, over the Miami Heat Arena, and I mean the sunset was just gorgeous today. It sort of looked like it almost didn't even look real. I think I posted some videos of it on my Twitter, but I've never seen anything like a Florida sunset. There's some really beautiful sunsets in New York. Obviously, we have the Manhattan Henge, which I believe was just the other day, actually. I think it was last week. But in my opinion, guys, there's nothing like a Florida sunset. It's unreal here. So here is the main entrance of 1000 Museum. Really exclusive, very, very beautiful building. You can see a little bit inside the lobby. And obviously they have a mural, a nice painting of Zaha Hadid right there. Once again, really amazing building. Now, I believe David Beckham has a really nice unit in 1000 Museum. And if you watch the videos, there's a lot of promotional videos about this building. You'll see that there's actually a helipad on the top of the building. So if you want to escape the traffic, if you don't feel like, you know, driving around the city, you know, you could just have a helicopter drop you right off in your apartment, which is kind of crazy to think about, but it's possible. Only in the United States, I guess. This building we're looking at is the Paramount World Tower, which is also another amazing sort of ultra luxurious building here in downtown Miami. Once again, really nice, very strategically placed right on the Metro Mover station right here. I'll try to give you guys one more shot of 1000 Museum from behind. Hey, Line Sync, good to see you. Zozo Bob's 1000 Museum was Zaha's only skyscraper in the Western Hemisphere. It's an amazing building. Really, really unique. I like it a lot. I gotta go back to my scooter here. I gotta put away some stuff. But we'll take you guys, I wanna check out the water because it was a very hot day today, very humid. And for whatever reason, we usually start to see a lot of fish swimming around right outside of the, what's it called? The Miami Heat Arena. So that should be fun. Nina is here. Joe says good evening, Tom and team. Welcome. Chris Beeman is joining us from Arizona. It's good to see you. Now, I think what we'll do on this live stream is just do a recap of some of the economic data that have come out so far. And then we are going to talk a little bit about the inflation report that is coming out this week, as well as brand new monetary policy decision by the Federal Reserve. And you know what, since we got the light, we'll cross. We're lucky enough to get the light. If you look all the way in the distance, the building with I should just say the building lit up in all red, that's the Freedom Tower here in Miami. It's actually my favorite building. So even though you have 1000 Museum, you have all the crazy ultra luxury apartment complexes being built in Miami, in my view, there's nothing like this building right here. Freedom Tower. This is where the vast majority of Cuban immigrants came to the United States to escape communism. And I think that means a lot for Miami and the country, right? So it's an awesome building. I love it. It's a beacon of opportunity, a beacon of hope right here in the US of A, my friends. All right, I'm gonna put you guys down for 2 seconds and then we'll be ready to rock and roll. Hopefully there's no rats down here. I've never really seen one in Miami. I'll be right back. All right, cool. Ready to rock and roll. Hey, Abby1 is here. Good to see you, Abby. Thanks for joining us. Jetstar says, Tom, went to see Taylor Swift in Chicago. Wow. How was that? And how much were the tickets? I've been reading some crazy stuff that the whole tour is going to be over $1 billion worth of ticket sales or something crazy like that. Or it's set to make $1 billion. That's wild. Very, very sought after. I was reading some articles that a lot of fans were getting upset because people were buying the tickets en masse and then trying to resell them for like ridiculous prices. So hopefully you didn't get caught up in any of that. We're outside of 900 Biscayne here. Hey, Charles Hong from DC, what's up? Nina, welcome. Brick Stonewall. We got a full house here. So we're actually going to cross the street and then we're going to make a left. I want to take you guys on a little bit of a walk behind the Miami Heat arena. And I think we may be able to see some dolphins swimming around tonight. I'm very confident of that. I saw some amazing wildlife and sea creatures today, earlier in the day, so hopefully they're still out. Hey, Adam says, what's popping in Miami? It's a beautiful day in Miami. Very hot, very humid, just how I like it. And we are preparing for the inflation data. Yes, inflation is right around 5% in the United States. Assuming, well, it's never good to assume, but look, if we get a hot inflation print, I think the Fed could do a quick 180 and raise interest rates next week, but we'll see. You know, Tuesday's the big day for inflation in the United States when we get the CPI numbers. So I'm sure it's going to be a very, very volatile week on Wall Street. We'll try to cross the street without getting knocked off. Looks like we were successful in that. But, you know, if we review some of the data that have come out already, you can see the water, absolutely beautiful here. Marcelo, good to see you. If we review some of the data that's come out, you know, we've had really, really strong jobs numbers in the United States. As we've reviewed, non-farm payrolls came in at 339,000 jobs added in the U.S. economy last month. So that's really big, right? However, the unemployment rate did edge up to 3.7% from 3.4%. But generally speaking, jobs are available in the US, right? We heard that from the JOLTS report too. There's about 10.1 million jobs in America. Sparks Carnival, that's true. Initial jobless claims surged to their highest level since October 21. That is also true. It's sort of like we have a mixed bag of results here. I think you can sort of, the market that we're seeing, in terms of a lot of the economic data that's coming out, you can pick and choose the data you want to fit your narrative, right? So let's say if, I was the Fed chair and I really, really wanted to raise rates, I could easily build a case for raising rates. But if I wanted to pause or even cut rates, I could also probably build a case for that too, right? You just sort of pick and choose the data. I'm on the lookout for any dolphins swimming around here. But you're right. And a lot of these jobs that are available, a lot of the job openings and the new jobs that have been created, a lot of them were service jobs, right? Service sector jobs in the economy, which tend to be a little bit lower paying positions, which is true. Also, we are having a little bit of trouble in the manufacturing sector of the US economy. Now, we know this from the Institute for Supply Management PMI numbers. The ISM PMI numbers came out on the first business day of this month. And if you want to look at that report, you can go to my Twitter, follow at Walks Wall Street, and you'll be able to see what some of the respondents said in that poll. And the manufacturing sector is contracting yet again. However, the service sector is really the only thing that's sort of propping this market up, in my view. Yeah, Sparks Carnival says cracks are starting to show in the highly resilient labor market. Tim is here. Hey, Tim. Says, Tom, thanks for these videos. Discovered you last week. Oh, very cool. Nice. Never been to Miami and New York City. Enjoy your commentary and walks. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being here. I think we just saw something. Let's keep our eyes peeled. That's my goal for tonight's stream. I got to find a dolphin for you guys. We saw them last year. Does anybody remember that? They were jumping around last year, but they were more over on that side of the dock. But I promise you guys, they are here. They just need to come out of hiding. I saw some amazing sea turtles today, like ridiculous. These things are huge, huge sea turtles. They probably weigh like hundreds of pounds. Seeing them kind of swim around in the water is really beautiful. But hey, Hawaii, what's up? Good to see you. Smee Media says dolphin goal. That is a good goal. It is a good goal. Joe says, do you like Madison Square Garden or the Miami Arena more? I like Madison Square Garden more, full transparency. I mean, how could you not, though? I mean, MSG is so iconic. I mean, Madison Square Garden, that's a pretty steep competition. But the Miami Arena is nice, right? It's beautiful here. But I mean, think about all of the historic sporting events, the musicians, the talent that has been through Madison Square Garden. I mean, I don't think you can really compete with that anywhere, right? I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts about that? Beautiful skyline here. Hopefully we'll see some heat lightning as well. I think this boat's gonna scare away all the fish. I haven't seen many manatees. Now, they always post these signs. These signs are all over my neighborhood too, because when a lot of the boats come in to the canals, they forget to put their, what is it called? The blades on the rudders. They forget to put them up so the manatees, if you actually look at one, chances are their back is all cut up from the propeller blades. So they have all of these signs to sort of warn the boaters to lift the propellers up, I guess. But the manatees are beautiful creatures here too. Yeah, Ryan Beck says 4.1% is the forecast. I don't know. I mean, what are your guys' thoughts? I guess we'll just get right into that. I mean, that's really the main two things we need to focus on next week. is inflation and the FOMC meeting, right? Because the inflation report is really going to put the nail in the coffin as it relates to the decision of monetary policy. But as I always say, I like to take the Peter Lynch approach, right? And one of my good friends, sort of, is a really successful money manager. A lot of the times he tells me, he's like, Tom, sometimes we can get so caught up in sifting through all this data and being sort of like a spreadsheet junkie, right? But it's also important to sort of look at the anecdotal side. And so what do I mean by that? Well, are you paying more for your groceries? What are you paying at the pump? Is your rent going up? You know, what is sort of the conversation there? So I guess that would be a good conversation to have, because I think a lot of economists, they come out on CNBC, they come out on Bloomberg, and they get so lost in the data that they can almost become out of touch with what many Americans are seeing on the ground floor, if that makes sense. So I don't know, what are you guys seeing when you go to the grocery store? Are prices moderating a little bit? I think I've almost become a little bit desensitized to the price increases because, unfortunately, I tend to spend my time in the two most expensive places on earth. I don't know why, but that's just what happens to be. I mean, New York City and Miami. Miami didn't used to be this expensive, but let me tell you, it is expensive as all heck, especially if you go to the Whole Foods in downtown Miami. You can't get more expensive groceries, produce, anything than right there. Justin S. says 4% sounds right. Gas prices remain stubborn, and that will continue to trickle in other parts of the economy, perhaps. Jetstar says the worst night in Miami is better than the best night anywhere else. That's true. Madison 32 says things are not going down near me, Tom. DM, hello, Tom, and everybody, grocery prices have been increasing for me. Anything specific? Could anybody point to a specific example that's increasing for you? Is it milk? Is it dairy products? Is it eggs? Nina says groceries are expensive. Shop at Trader Joe's. Food are much better, and for the meal prep, interesting. Michelle K, prices where I work are starting to come down a little bit. There are some items that are still very high. Here's where I'm seeing the most, like where things are like ridiculously expensive. Red meat. Has anybody ever bought steaks recently? Like a New York strip steak or a ribeye? Any red meat that you get from the butcher counter, right? Crazy expensive. So I went into the store. This was actually last night, after the stream. I go up to the counter, right? Talk to the guy, nice guy, good guy. And I said, sir, may I please have, 2 New York strip steaks? Does anybody want to guess how much 2 New York strip steaks cost me? Now, again, I didn't get the prepackaged, right? Sometimes I like to just go directly to the butcher. I think it's better quality, maybe a little bit healthier. But does anybody want to guess how much 2 New York strip steaks cost? I couldn't believe it. I was like, oh man, that's a little ridiculously steep. Ryan Beck says $60. Michael says $30. Arsenal fan says $60. British Gray says $50. Joe says $40. It was $47. Very close. Justin S. almost hit the nail on the head with $45. Isn't that a little wild? $47? I couldn't believe that. Now, granted, for some context here, I like to get, sometimes, if I'm grilling outside, I like to get the grass-fed beef. I feel like that's a little bit healthier. There's no hormones, and maybe it's a little bit more humane because they're roaming free in the wild, I guess. But that's a lot of money, man. That's a lot of money. $47. Now, granted, I usually shop at the Walmart Supercenter, and you could get, I would say maybe lesser quality of a cut for cheaper, 100%, but still, if you go to the butcher counter, 2 New York strip steaks, almost $50. That is a little bit ridiculous, I think. Sparks Carmels, as Campbell's fell almost 10% last week. They're in trouble. You know, we're seeing a sell-off in a lot of sort of like staples as well as big box retailers. Target, talk about a slaughter fest. I posted a chart of this on my Twitter. Target, ticker symbol TGT, broke down bad. Very, very bad. I think the stock is down from all-time record high. I think like over 45%. However, Walmart, a little bit of a pair trade here. If you look at Walmart, I think Walmart just hit a 52-week high the other day. So look, it's definitely a stock picker's market. Now, I think for next week, everybody's going to be looking for selling pressure in the big tech stock names, because a lot of these, I would say the mega cap tech stocks, look at how gorgeous the view is from here. This is where a lot of the cruise ships come in. Absolutely stunning. And then if you look all the way down here, guys, this is the Ferris wheel at Bayside Marketplace. And then this is the famous Intercontinental Hotel. Really, really beautiful here. Let's see if we can see anything jumping around in the water. You guys see that lightning right here? In the summer, you'll see a lot of heat lightning because it's about 90 degrees during the day and it's so humid and it cools off so fast at night that you have these crazy heat lightning storms. Hopefully we'll see a couple more strikes as we're on the thing here. You could also see the Royal Caribbean cruise in the background. But yeah, I think we need to be watching for that next week. I think that would be good for the market if a lot of these mega cap tech stocks can give a little bit back. This broad-based rally that we've been seeing in the S&P 500, in the NASDAQ, as well as the Dow, has really been led by all of these mega caps. You talk about Apple, Microsoft, Amazon. These companies with the trillion-dollar market caps have really been carrying this market. Yeah, Joseph Hardaway says tons of heat lightning in Jamaica. Love that. Michelle Henry says I buy my meat from a mom and pop store in my neighborhood town. Wow. Very cool. Love that. Really, Ryan Beck says my eggs are $9 a dozen. Whew. Jackass says Nvidia is probably considered a mega cap now. Yeah, I mean, Jackass, briefly, after earnings, right, after that better than expected earnings report for Nvidia, I think this is probably one of my favorite views ever. So peaceful out here. Nvidia was $1 trillion company after that earnings report, right? The stock gapped up 20% after hours. And the story of Nvidia is such an American success story, right? And I sort of wrote a little synopsis on this on Twitter. I sort of broke it down. But Nvidia, the $1 trillion company now, part of the $1 trillion club, it was started in a Denny's, right? Ticker symbol DENN. It was literally started in a Denny's in a bad neighborhood near San Francisco. And a group of entrepreneurs didn't have enough money for an office space, wanted to save a couple bucks. So what they would do is they would post up shop in a Denny's. They would spend like $1.50 on coffee and they would work there all day. They would work there so much that the manager of the Denny's would actually ask them to move to another location because they were disturbing the patrons. It's kind of wild. And so I think it's a good point to make. I'm sort of half focusing here because I'm looking at the water. I want to get you guys a dolphin tonight. I'm going to be so disappointed if I can't. In any event, it's so important to understand, okay? These are very, very uncertain times. Record high inflation, horrible wars breaking out in Eastern Europe with innocent civilians dying, troops being sent into a meat grinder, prospects of a war with Taiwan and China. Very, very harsh global macro environment. But I think it's important to understand that we've gone through many of these events before in American history, and there's always going to be something to worry about. But it doesn't matter, and it's so important to understand this, it doesn't matter the macro environment. There's always going to be smart people that want to immigrate to the United States, go to the best schools here, get good educations, and create America's next best companies. So just because the stock market may be in a bear market, the economic environment may not be the best, manufacturing activities contracting in the U.S., it doesn't mean that all these entrepreneurs are just going to hide under their bed sheets and go cry about it, right? No, every single day, and even right now as we speak and as we do this live stream, there's some college kid in his dorm room or some college girl in her dorm room whittling up the next big $1 trillion company, which we will be able to participate in, right? Because that company is going to need funding. It's going to go public on an exchange, and we will be able to capitalize on that and take part in the growth of the American economy. So innovation is not going to stop, okay? It's only going to get more advanced and only going to get better. Paul Tudor Jones had an amazing interview, really an amazing interview with Paul Tudor Jones, and what his prediction for the U.S. economy is that we are going to go through a productivity boom that's driven by AI, right? That's driven by artificial intelligence, machine learning. Productivity is going to go through the roof in the United States. Businesses are going to become more profitable, right? If productivity goes up, well, gross margins are going to go up, which means more corporate profits. And as we think back to our friend Peter Lynch, who is the former Fidelity Magellan Fund mutual fund manager, one of the most successful mutual fund managers of all time, he says, look, over the course of American history, corporate profits in America generally go up about 8% a year. There's some years where you have earnings recessions and earnings contractions, that's true. But over the long term, if you average everything out, corporate profits in America generally tend to go up about 8%. Assuming that, the market ought to double every 15 to 20 years. So I find it hard to believe, and I'm just trying to get you guys into that frame of mind, that there's going to always be like some horrible macro fear. I call it, like the fear porn these people always throw out there. And I think we should pay attention to it, but that's not going to deter innovation. Technology in the US and globally is going to look a lot different in the next 10 years, right? There's going to be more Apples, there's going to be more Microsofts, and it's never going to end. And we could all participate in that. Maybe some of you watching will be able to create one of those next best companies. Hey, Flat Smack, what's up? This is the most important lesson we can learn if you are starting a business is to fill your registration forms with the SEC, or you will get sued into the ground. Interesting. Good to see you, Flat Smack. Hey, John, what's up? Says, Tom, you need to go see the view of Shanghai. I will do that. That is one of my goals, to do that. I've never been. I would love to travel there. That's been one of my goals. I want to get out and travel more. I think if I have one regret so far in my life, I don't think I'm well traveled. I will say that. I don't think I'm well traveled. I need to experience the world more. I've only really stayed in the United States. So I agree with you. I want to go there. Brendan O'Brien says debt and entitlements, so taxes will have to go way up. That is true, or the alternative, right? Cut some of these entitlement programs, but I don't think that'll happen. I think Brendan O'Brien makes a really good point. Unfortunately, we didn't see any dolphins today, but here's my prediction. Does anybody want to know my prediction about the entitlements? Because this is a big problem. And Stan Druckenmiller talked about this, how we're not going to be able to pay all these entitlement programs. But I believe in the law of slow-moving disasters. Does anybody know what the law of slow-moving disasters is? Or has anybody ever heard of that? Anybody? So the United States, it seems, we're very good at adapting to things. So if we see a problem in the distance, there's always some entrepreneur or a collective of people that figure it out. And I think that the debt, we have a ballooning debt in the United States. And now with interest rates being so high, that doesn't help because the interest on our debt is astronomical. But I believe in the law of slow-moving disasters. And that if we see a problem far out enough, we'll be able to come up with a solution for it. Now, I don't know what that solution is, but I think somebody will account for it. If you think about any major problem of the past, we've done it. I think we're going to be able to solve our energy crisis globally with advanced nuclear power techniques. I think you're going to have, I think we'll be able to pretty soon end extreme poverty and hunger, because we do have the resources for it. It's just all about how to distribute those resources. And money isn't always the answer. There was a really good piece. This was a really good piece that was written in the Wall Street Journal as it relates to California and as it relates to the homeless problem and the homeless crisis in California. That is a must read. I think every American should read that. And it just goes to show, Freedom Tower right here, looks beautiful. Money isn't always the answer, right? You could throw billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars at a problem, but if you have incompetent management and incompetent capital allocators in charge of the money, it's just going to be squandered and wasted. Do some research into how many millions of dollars the state of California throws at fixing homelessness, and it's actually continued to get worse and worse every year as opposed to better. So the solutions are not always monetary. It's not always a monetary solution. I think it has to do with who's in charge in leadership. All right, guys, we are now standing outside of the Miami Heat arena overlooking the beautiful and very, very unique Paramount World Tower. Hey, Zozo Bob, says Tom. Baby boomers are not going to put up with cuts in Social Security, and it's the Treasury's cash cow. Yeah, I don't think we'll have to do cuts in Social Security, in my view. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my view. Now, this building is very, very unique. This is actually called the Elser. And we talked about this before because this is a hotel and condominium. Now, hotel, condominium, and residences, but get this. This is what's unique about this building. All of the units come fully furnished, right? So if you're interested in purchasing one of these units, it's all furnished. Every single unit in this building is furnished. And the reason why they do that is because there's a lot of people who come to Miami that do not live here full time. I'm one of those people, right? I spend about 50% of my time here in Miami and 50% of the time in New York City. So the hotel will operate your apartment unit. So when you're not using it, it goes into that sort of system where you could rent out your individual unit, which I think is a really interesting idea. And I think you're going to see a lot of new developments starting to implement that sort of policy. Now, maybe that's not your thing, maybe it is, but I think it's quite interesting. I'm going to do some research for you guys to see how this building is selling. But if you're interested in it, you can just Google the Elser, ELSER. It's a hotel and residences, and it's quite unique. Very, very cool. Joseph Hardaway says, Tom, very true. Giving money isn't always the answer. I'm a firm believer in teaching someone how to fish instead of giving someone the fish. Yeah, and I also think, and it's not only just about that, right? It's about the person who's in charge of it, right? If you, and not to get too political, but I mean, I think it just shows the people managing this operation, right, in California, it's obviously not working, right? I don't think you need to be a Democrat or Republican to realize that. The managers have got to go of those funds, because you've seen an explosion in the homeless population and we have more than enough monetary resources to deal with it. It's the implementation, right? It's just, think about running a government like you would run a company. If you have incompetent management, the company is going to be run into the ground. I think we could use General Electric as a pretty good case study for that, and a lot of other companies too. If you don't have good management, company's not going to do well. Doesn't matter how much money they have. All right, this is the Miami Heat Arena. Hey, Eyeglass Lady, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, what's going on with the Miami Heat? Does anybody know? I think they're in the finals, and tomorrow night, the Miami Heat are playing, but I think they play in Denver. Is that correct? They're not actually playing here? I think if they win, we bring the series back to Miami. Is that true? Hey, Cayenne Pacific says, hey, Tom, long time hiatus, but I am back. So glad to see you in Miami again. Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, and you mentioned New York recovering from all the fire smoke. It was wild. I think the smoke has moved out. A lot of people were sending me some videos of Central Park today, and it looked like a gorgeous day in Central Park. So, Shady says if they lose Monday, the series is over. Got it. So it's a must-win. So I'm assuming if they win, it comes back to Miami. Now, wouldn't that be something if the Miami Heat could pull this off and win the NBA Finals? That would just be a banner year for Miami. I mean, the Heat win an NBA title the same year that Leo Messi signs on with Inter Miami. I mean, holy crap, would that be something? That would be unbelievable. That's one thing I'm excited for. And it's not just going to be good for the MLS, right? It's not just going to be good for soccer in America. It's going to be really good for the economy here in Miami. I mean, just imagine, like, just really put this into perspective here. Anytime there's a home game and Messi's going to play, it's going to be sold out. I mean, people are going to be flying here from all over the world. I mean, that's going to do wonders for the local economy here in Miami and Fort Lauderdale. So that's what I'm most excited about. You know, a lot of people have been talking about, you know, Messi coming to Miami, and they've only been discussing or talking about it from, you know, an athletic side. You'd be surprised the difference one person could make, especially since we have a huge community of people from Argentina. It's going to be wild. So here we have it. This is the El Sur Hotel and Residences, Miami. You can see a collection of furnished studio 1 to 2, 3-bedroom apartments. And I think on this sky deck here, they have a beautiful pool overlooking Bayside Marketplace. Really nice. So we're gonna head straight down past Bayside Marketplace to the Aston Martin building and then walk over to Brickell. Yeah, Fidel Cash Flow says 488 square feet, starts in the 700s. That's like New York City pricing. Now, would anybody have ever guessed Miami would become as expensive, or, you know, almost as expensive as New York City? I don't think I would have ever guessed that, but, you know, I think we need to give a lot of credit to the mayor of Miami for a lot of the economic development here. I think those prices will come down, though, if I'm being honest. That's just my 2 cents, right? Doesn't mean much, but I think those prices are going to come down, especially if the Federal Reserve raises interest rates next week. Now, I don't think they are. Again, if you look at futures markets, 25% chance the Fed raises rates by 25 basis points. So we're probably going to get a pause. The Fed's probably going to pause their rate hiking cycle. And last week, we actually saw that 30-year fixed rate mortgage come down a little bit. When we were doing these live streams in New York, the 30-year fixed had a 7 handle on it. So it was like 7 and a quarter for a 30-year fixed. I think now it's like 6.88%. So rates have come down a little bit, but perhaps not for long, my friends, because I think it's pretty much a lock, especially if this CPI report comes in hotter than expected. We'll probably just go right back on track to hiking rates in July, which would bring the Fed funds target rate to 5.25 to 5.5. Now, consensus though, and I want to ask you guys, consensus is that the peak Fed funds rate is going to be 5.5%. If we just get one more 25 basis point rate hike, we are at the so-called peak rate, is what many people are suggesting. So I'd like to ask all of you, where do you think we're going to top out? Where do you think the Fed is going to call it quits and say, look, we've raised rates enough, we've broken enough things? I mean, think about all the bank failures we've had, right? That is pretty much due to the Federal Reserve raising interest rates, right? Especially if you understand how bonds are priced and how bonds work. I don't know if I want to take you guys through Bayfront Marketplace tonight. Maybe we'll do that another night. I don't think we'll have time tonight. But you know, a real reason why we've been having a lot of these bank failures is because rates have gone up so much. And if you think about the bonds, especially the MBS, mortgage-backed securities that a lot of these banks hold, they've been acquiring those MBS at very, very low rates. So there's an inverse correlation in the bond market. As rates go up, the price of the bonds go down, right? So again, textbook example from the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. This is the torch of friendship here. Textbook example from the Silicon Valley Bank collapse. Management purchased about 80 billion, I think, some crazy number, of mortgage-backed securities yielding 2%. Literally right before the Fed started their most aggressive tightening cycle since Paul Volcker. So if you understand mark-to-market accounting, as the yields have gone up across the curve, well, the mark-to-market value of those securities that are on the balance sheet are probably worth about half as much as what they were. Now, in theory, it wouldn't be a problem if Silicon Valley Bank could have held those securities to maturity. But the problem is everybody wanted their money back all at once. This was a textbook bank run. And if everybody wants their money all at once, well, Silicon Valley Bank is obligated to give that money back. Now, the problem is they didn't actually have that liquidity to give the customers. So they had to start selling the assets on the balance sheet in order to raise the cash to give the cash to the depositors. Only problem is when they went to try to sell those securities, you're not going to be able to sell it at parity from what you bought it at, right? Because rates have gone up so much. So therefore the bank is insolvent and we have this fiasco that we're going through now. So hey Priscilla says, hey Tom, and good evening everybody. What's up, Priscilla? Welcome to downtown Miami on this gorgeous night. Let me try to catch up on some of the comments. Hey, Western Mass Dave is joining us. What's up, Dave? My best, you know. Yeah, Sparks Carnival says indices are technically in a bull market. Indeed they are, my friends. Now, I posted to my Twitter that this has been one of the most hated rallies, right? Sentiment across Wall Street and Main Street has been very, very negative. I mean, there's so many fund managers that are highly, highly underexposed equities on this rally. And if you look at the data, not only do you have Wall Street sort of underexposed, you also have Main Street underexposed, but everybody's been crowding into bonds. Now, why has that been? Well, yields are actually attractive. You could actually get a real rate of return. So in the bond market, or in any type of market, right, you have nominal rate of return and then you have a real rate of return. The only thing you care about is the real rate of return because that is factoring after inflation. So what is the 1-year US Treasury at right now? 5.25%, something like that, on the 1 year. So a lot of people are just opting for that, you know, risk-free rate of return. You know, you pop $1 million in there, it's, you know, a little over $50,000 a year risk-free, right? I think a lot of people are starting to do that because they've had enough with the market volatility, and there's finally an alternative now. This is the 200 Southeast Financial Center we're looking at. The 20th floor has been now taken over by our good friend Ken Griffin, Citadel Securities. Let me catch up on the comments here. Yeah, you know, Sparks Carnival, I saw that Cathie Wood did something crazy. Now, Cathie Wood is not a good risk manager. I mean, like, horrible. Like, I respect Cathie Wood. She's very nice. I've met her in person before. I think she's great. But, I mean, everything you're not supposed to do as it relates to risk managing, she does. Doubles down, triples down on position sizes. You don't want to double down on a losing position. You want to blow that out, in theory, as fast as possible. I always use the term 3-5-7. You blow that out, right? So if you're building a position and it goes down and the stock goes down 3%, you should be kind of, you know, working around your position. 7% you have to be out. That is like a non-negotiable for me. You got to blow that out. Cathie Wood, I mean, a lot of these stocks are down 80%, and she's tripling down on these, which is, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. And that's a big controversy in the, you know, ETF market, in the mutual fund business, because she's still getting paid management fees, right? So she's getting poor performance for her investors, but you still ring the register with those management fees year in and year out. And look, again, I'm not trying to dump on Cathie Wood. I think she's great. I think her research team is probably better than anybody else's on Wall Street. But there's a thing called being very, very early, and you got to be able to risk manage. Anyway, look at this. This is the Miami Tower. That's probably my favorite color I've ever seen in this building. It's this very, very deep, rich blue, also turning purple now. It's like a half purple. Yeah, TK Push says, I don't understand her investing strategy. It's gambling to the max. Yeah, I mean, I think she just purchased more Coinbase, right? I don't know. I mean, I don't know. Look, she could be right. And, if I had to go out on a limb, because ARK, their investment strategy is looking at the most innovative companies. And I think they'll actually be right over the long term. However, if you're managing other people's money, you cannot, even if you're managing any money, any real money, you can't afford, 80% equity drawdowns. I mean, that's just, to me, that's not acceptable. For me, personally. I mean, if I raised money and I was running other people's money, I mean, could you imagine how that call would go over? Hey, let's go over your statement. Let's review your statement. Oh yeah, I bought a bunch of Coinbase now that SEC is suing the hell out of the company, and it's down 90%. So I just went ahead and bought more. I don't know. I think I think there's no risk management there at all. The best traders of all time, people think about, traders on Wall Street as these huge risk takers and these, crazy, very aggressive people. That's actually not the truth. If you do diligence and research on some of the best traders ever and best money managers ever, they are very, very meek, prudent risk managers, because you won't be in the business very long if you don't manage your risk. You will blow up, right? You will blow your account if you're not a prudent risk manager on Wall Street. You will blow up. 200 Southeast Financial Center right here. Yeah, Ryan Beck says she is quite brazen with her lack of risk management. Yeah. Now, and it's all about liquidity too, right? So think about the particular stocks that have done really well in 2021 and 2022. We'll go check out the Aston Martin building again. It was the very high beta, high speculative, innovative growth stocks, right? And the reason why they've been doing so well is because, well, interest rates were near zero. So as you try to evaluate these companies on a discounted cash flow basis, right? If you think about it, investing is really all about figuring out the present value of a company's future cash flows. Okay, I'll say that again. And there's actually a really, really good video on YouTube about this. Bill Ackman sort of sits down and explains sort of what this means. But investing is all about determining the present value of a company's future cash flows, right? And if you work on Wall Street, or maybe you manage your own portfolio, you've probably built a DCF model before, or a discounted cash flow model. So when interest rates are zero, right, when interest rates are near zero, the present value of a company's future cash flows are very high. Now, it's the complete inverse when you go on a very, very aggressive hiking cycle, because a lot of these tech companies had very, very few profits. So as interest rates going up, or as interest rates go up, which they have, the Fed raised rates about 18 times, about 500 basis points. the present value of those future cash flows become worth less and less and less. So essentially all the stocks that she was buying were really only going up because we were in an environment of massive, massive liquidity and artificially suppressed interest rates. So this is the W Hotel. I'm so excited to see that the Aston Martin building, the lights are finally starting to come on. You could see a little bit inside those units, which looks cool. Very, very windy out. Look at the valet umbrella here. You can get a sense of how windy it is. The closer you get to the water, generally speaking, the windier it's going to get. Hey, San Miguel, says Tom. The amount of US dollar getting out of LATAM, or Latin America, to Miami is really crazy. Yeah, so that's an interesting observation. Now, if you think about, hold on, I just want to get you guys a good shot of the Aston Martin building. Like, think about this, right? We all complain, and myself included, okay, myself included, we all complain about how inflation is running wild in the United States of America, right? When our inflation rate is 5%. Now, San Miguel is talking about capital flight from Latin America and Central America to the United States. Now, I'm going to ask this question to all of you, and it's sort of, everybody knows the answer already. But why do you think you're seeing massive capital flight out of Latin America to the United States, specifically Miami or Southern Florida, South Florida, as it relates to inflation? Anybody want to take a guess? I'll give you a hint. Look at global inflation, or look at global CPI data and compare that to the US. And we're pretty much sitting on a bed of roses, right? Now, for all of our friends in Argentina, speaking of Leo Messi, who just signed an amazing deal to come to Miami, thank God, we're so happy to have him. Argentina, the yearly inflation rate is over 100%. Yeah, that's the truth. It's over 100% inflation in Argentina. Okay. So you're seeing people move money, right? You can sort of track the fund flows. People are trying to park their money. Maybe that's buying real estate, buying a piece of land or a piece of property, just to preserve their wealth, right? Keith, hilarious. Yeah, that's true. Ryan Beck says that, plus Miami is a smart bet with all the New Yorkers coming. Yeah, Zozo Bob, you're right. And I think that's just another reason to be bullish on America long term, right? Hey, Ibrahim, what's up? Ibrahim Azam, happy belated birthday, by the way, man. Hope you had a good birthday. But if you guys are enjoying the live stream so far tonight, feel free to click the like button on the video and click the subscribe button if you're new. We start these live streams at 8:30 p.m. Eastern. We'd love to have you guys. Also, if you want to connect with us off YouTube, click the links in the description. You could follow us on Twitter. You could sign up for our free investing newsletter. We'd love to have you there. Yeah, Ibrahim Azam says, thank you, Tom. It feels so good to be 17. Dude, I mean, I can't even put into words how optimistic I am for your future. You are going to be entering your prime working years while innovation in America is exploding. And I think you're going to do really, really well. Look at this sort of like Batmobile type boat. Look at this. This thing is crazy. Look at that. I didn't even see that. Yeah, Carl Roth says America needs Canada. Canada has the most stable banking system in the world. Canada is the model for the American banking system. I agree with the first part of your statement there. And we've actually reviewed this a lot of times on the live stream. One of my predictions going further into this next decade is that the United States, Mexico, and Canada is going to strengthen their relationship even more as it relates to manufacturing capacity and trade. And one of the reasons why we're seeing this, and this is going to benefit Canada in a huge way. The Canadians are going to benefit from this like crazy. Same with our Mexican friends and here stateside in the US. COVID-19 really taught the Western world that you cannot solely rely on China to be the world's workshop. It's not going to work because God forbid there's another pandemic or a breakdown in the supply chain. That's going to set you back 3 years, right? In some instances, we're still seeing cogs in our supply chain as it relates to semiconductor availability and production. So you're going to start to see a lot of this manufacturing capacity move back to the United States, move back to Canada, move to Mexico. And you're already seeing this. I mean, look what happened with the Chips and Science Act that went through. That's going to provide a lot of subsidy and a lot of assistance for big semiconductor companies to start to build chip fabricators and production plants and design plants in the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Or in the United States, and I'm sure Canada and Mexico is going to benefit as well. But again, that's going to take some time, right? It's not like you flip a switch and the manufacturing capacity just shifts to the U.S. It's going to take years and years and years for this stuff to be built, right? It could take 5 to 10 years, but better late than never, right? I mean, better late than never. Optimistic. Check out these balconies, guys. This is unreal. It's nuts. Imagine hanging out on your balcony at night, the Aston Martin building overlooking Brickell Key. That is a sick building. Man. Hopefully I'll be able to get you guys in here. I'm going to make you that promise. I will get you guys in the Aston Martin building, and maybe we'll do a guided tour. I'll talk to one of the developers or one of the sales agents there. I'll get you guys in and we will cover every inch of that building. That I promise you. This is something interesting. Look at this, Hell's Kitchen. Now, I didn't even know this was going to come here up until, I don't know, maybe 3 weeks ago, was it? When did I point this out to you guys? 3 weeks ago? This is going to be Gordon Ramsay's place. Oh, I think it's going to open. Really? I think this is a little bit. Really? It's going to open this, like, within the next few months? I don't know about that. It doesn't look ready, does it? Hold on, let me give you guys a better view. Now, supposedly, according to the sign, Gordon Ramsay's restaurant's going to open within the next, I mean, if it's this summer, it's going to be within the next couple months. It still looks like it's under heavy construction though, doesn't it? This looks like the bar area here. Back here is the kitchen. It does look really nice, doesn't it? I think this will do really well. And we kind of need things like this because this is going to bring a lot of foot traffic to downtown Miami. I think in order for Miami to be really sustainable, it needs to turn into like a New York City as it relates to walkability. It's happening. It's already happened in Brickell. It hasn't yet happened in downtown Miami, but I'm confident it's going to happen. And we need more restaurants, more places for people to go that's within walking distance, right? Local coffee shops need to come down here. Just places where communities can gather and people can go without driving. Still, everybody has a car here. Ryan Beck says it's a good experience. Food is always good. I'll have to try it out. I'll have to try it out for sure. This is the Epic Hotel and Residences. And the Hell's Kitchen in Las Vegas is overrated. Prices are high for what they offer. Yeah, you're probably paying for the brand name, right? Now down here is the most expensive Whole Foods in the world. You know, Sparks Carnival, I saw that. I'm not a big fan of Slack. All right, we're gonna cross anyway. We're going against the grain. But I am a big fan of Benioff. Now, that acquisition closed last year, early last year, I believe. And Slack is a competitor to Microsoft Teams. Now, here's the thing, and I think this is a good conversation topic because when rates go up and the economy falters, like it arguably is now, corporations look to cut anything they can. And why would I pay for Slack when I could get Microsoft Teams for free? Right? I mean, who here uses Slack versus Teams? I don't know. I know Slack is more towards, it's better for developers working together, but Nina says, Tom, at work I've used both Slack and Microsoft Teams, and our company prefers Microsoft Teams. Interesting. And Teams is free within the Microsoft suite too. So NBA Elias, Teams is better. Wow, we're seeing a lot of people saying Microsoft Teams is better. You prefer Teams. Yeah, Joel PM says same goes for Okta. Can use Azure for MFA. Yeah, and I think that's why you're seeing the stock price of Okta falter. And this is why I've been very, very outspoken about if you want to get exposure, and again, this is not advice, we're just talking. If you want to get exposure to cybersecurity, Palo Alto Networks is probably the leader, right? Okta is more specific in its cybersecurity, right? They specialize in a type of cybersecurity that's called IAM, or Identity and Access Management. That's a very, very specific form of cybersecurity, while these other companies sort of do it all. And you know, Microsoft has so much cash, they've been acquiring cybersecurity companies and bundling those cyber solutions within their Microsoft suite, right? So I think you could probably argue gaining exposure to Microsoft is also a cyber play. But by far, from my experience, Palo Alto Networks, ticker symbol PANW, is the leader, in my view. Hey, sunshine after rain, what's up? Sparks Carnival. This is Tom. Walmart and Costco stand to benefit from the economic downturn. I would agree with that. Now, did anybody see... Oh no, we're stuck on the bridge. That's all right, we'll hang out. It's Sunday night, we can hang out. Let's see if we can see any fish down here. Now, did anybody notice on Walmart's earnings report that they're saying they're starting to benefit from customers trading down? So like would-be Whole Foods customers are now shopping at Walmart Supercenter. So within the range of household incomes of $100,000 plus incomes, they're starting to see a huge influx of that demographic start to shop at Walmart. Maybe we'll see something interesting cross the bridge here. We'll see. Stay tuned. Additionally, who in the chat here has ever bought the Walmart name brand products? And what is the, is it good value? Is that the Walmart store brand? Could anybody confirm that? Is it good value, I think, or value brand? Is that the Walmart store brand? Sally says you. Yeah, I buy it. I buy it. Ah, great value. Jeffrey, you're right. Thank you. It's great value. Thank you for that. See, this is why I ask you guys this stuff. Now, here's something else that's very interesting, and the CEO of Walmart actually said this on the earnings call, I think it was 2 quarters ago. He said, we actually stand to benefit when consumers trade down en masse, because there's higher margins. So there's higher gross margins on store brand products. So the great value products, the more people buy them, there's actually more profit margin in those products. And they're starting to see more and more people opt for store brand as opposed to, you know, the name brands like your Procter & Gamble, you know, things like that. General Mills is another one, right? I think a lot of people are, instead of buying the General Mills brand cereals, they'll opt for the Walmart brand. And that's actually good for earnings because more margins. All right, here we got the bridge going up. Yeah, Valerie Rogers says all the great value products are great. I buy them. I buy them as well. Hey, Sparks Carnival, thank you for joining us tonight. We appreciate you, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow. Have a great rest of you. Have a great start to your week, I should say. All right, let's see what's coming by. The only thing I see is this guy. I feel like that could fit under the bridge without it going up. Somebody's saying, Tom, do you go to Costco? The Kirkland brand is pretty good. So I do, but only when I have friends in town because I don't have a Costco membership. So I'll only go if I'm with a friend and they have a excuse me, and they have a membership. But I personally don't have a membership to Costco. Not bad. We got some Lion King going over the bridge. Yeah, Joe's like every time we cross the bridge it opens up. I think the boats are timing when we go over there. Hey, Laura M, what's up? Hang with Mark Mom is in the house. Good to see you. Hopefully you are doing well and had a great weekend. Vincenzo's, this is a good to buy target stock right now. We don't give recommendations on stocks. We can't do that. We're not licensed to do that. So I can't tell you if it's something's a good buy or not. I personally wouldn't buy Target, but I can advise. Hang with Mark Moms as my son goes to Sam's Club. I think something, oh no, that was the waves. I thought something jumped out of the water. Hey, Rich Child 9, it's a beautiful night and beautiful stroll. Thank you so much. Don't worry, the bridge is going down first, guys. But yeah, I think I made a post about Target on my Twitter. Here's the way I think about it. Generally speaking, stocks get crushed for a reason, and stocks trade near highs for a reason. So if you think about like a pair trade here, think about Walmart and think about Target. Walmart, I think, is trading near a 52-week high, and Target keeps getting dumped and pounded. Now, I know there's a lot of like political stuff going on too, but in my view, you kind of want to avoid all that stuff. Right? It's like the old saying, you know, stocks are cheap for a reason, and some stocks are expensive for a reason, right? Man, these boats are beautiful here. Aston Martin building. I think these are more so like yachts than boats, I guess. They're really nice. Lots of foot traffic caught up on the bridge from the thing going up. Hey, FredX. What's up? Good to see you. Hey, Midnight Boba, thank you so much for your very generous $5 donation. We appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Now, this is a great shot here. Look at that. The lights are finally starting to come on here at the Aston Martin building. Beautiful. Man, that building looks insane. I gotta give you guys another shot of that. You got the palm trees on the roof here, but you know what's even crazier? And this building's not done yet. This is gonna be the sort of like the sky deck where they're gonna have the swimming pool. That's gonna be insane. So they're gonna have the swimming pool that sort of extends over the apartments. And you'll probably be able to see all the way to South Beach too. So we now officially have crossed into Brickell. I think we'll make a right here instead of going down this way. Hey, ETC 333, what's up? Ryan Beck says, what are we talking about? $1 million plus to get in that building? I think the cheapest ones are like $5 million bucks, I think, right? I got to do a little bit more research on the building, but I think it may be $5 million to get in there. Joel PM says, will the pool have glass on the bottom? I'm not sure. That would be wild if it did. I don't know. But again, I'm going to promise you guys, I'm going to get you in there, okay? Mark my words. I think that would be really cool to do. You know, have the, the property manager, the developers give us a guided walking tour of the building. I think that would be cool. They'll be able to explain all the amenities of the property, explain all the different, architectural details of the property, and maybe we'll live stream it. I think people would enjoy that. Yeah, Ken Glass says, Tom, super hot and sticky there tonight. It is. I think it was 90 degrees today, man. Hey Lee, what's up? Says price ranges from 6.4 to 59 million. Yeah, I think that's a little bit too far out of my price range, guys. I think maybe just a little bit. Hey, Midnight Boba says love the Elster Hotel. The amenities are amazing and the concept is awesome. I have not invested or looking into possible ROI, but you can see. Yeah, I mean, we were just talking about that tonight on the stream. We showcased the Elster. Now, that is a brand new development that is a hotel and residences, but every single unit is furnished at the Elster. So the theory there, or the, I guess the program, you could say, is for people, let's say, for example, like me, that spends half their time in New York City, half their time in Miami. It's a fully furnished apartment where you could rent it out on a short-term rental when you're not there. I think it's a really cool concept, especially for people who split their time for business. The Elster is awesome. I think I have a friend, I forget who it is. It may have been Carol H in the chat. I think just stayed at the Elster. Yeah, I'll have to do some research into that too. I want to get you guys into a lot of these buildings here. But yeah, thank you for posting that. It's a great building. I know Valerie Rogers says those prices are ridiculous. It's crazy. Now this is the First Presbyterian Church. Beautiful architecture here. Hey Dean, yo, what's up, man? Since I split my time between Dallas and New York City, and it costs a fortune to rent in New York City and own in Texas. So what do you do? Do you rent your place out when you're not in Texas? Now, I'll give you, what I do is I only do month-long rentals. Anything less than that, in my experience, it's a headache, in my experience, right? Some people may be really good at it, but try to rent it out for a month at a time. You get a little bit better tenants. For some reason, Dean, I thought you were going to come to Miami at one point. Or you were going to come to Miami, but then you took another offer in Texas, I think? All right, let me check my battery here. I know, MBA Elias like walks in Wall Street timeshare. All right, team, you know what? I think this will be a good place to end it. I think we had good conversation. Obviously, next week is going to be a very busy week on Wall Street. Okay, Tuesday we are getting the inflation numbers out for May. Okay, so we're going to get the May CPI, and then throughout the week is going to be the FOMC meeting, when Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell will make an updated monetary policy decision. Now, we think that there's going to be a little bit of a pause in the hiking cycle, but we'll see. We'll see what happens to CPI. But until then, I'm wishing you guys a fantastic start to the week. Make sure you take tonight to rest so you are relaxed and well rested to get after it starting tomorrow. So if you enjoyed the live stream, feel free to leave a like on the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. We'll see you tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. If you want to connect with us off YouTube, click the links in the description. Connect with us on Twitter, and you can sign up for our free newsletter. So Justin S., I appreciate you. Happy Monday to you. Michael Joseph, thank you so much for joining. Hawaii, always appreciate you joining. Vivian Francesca, Jonathan, MBA Elias, Austin City Limits, Steph UH, John Abraham, Teresa Diaz, good to see you, TD. FredX, the one and only, Joseph Hardaway, UniJ23, Sally, Western Mass Dave, I give you my best, you know. DM, Cayenne Pacific, Dean Lee. I will check my email. I'm going to check my email right as I get off here. Yeah, guys, I'll see you tomorrow. Take care.